Hey, we're back. In this session, that is episode 45, we'll continue our discussion on NAT and show you how you can use NAT to sustain traffic and even secure your router. We'll teach you how to set up a Source NAT rule, what limitations you should be aware of, and how you can employ Source NAT as a firewall layer. So last session, we understood that when we ping an address like 8888, our packets reach their destination but are dropped in the destination server because they cannot find a route back. We verified this after we pinged 8888, received timeout results, but saw that the trainee router was recording activity of forwarded packets toward 8888. In addition, rule counters on the trainee router recorded 4 forwarded packets while there was no record of any reply. Now, to set up a Source NAT to tackle this issue, we refer to the NAT tab in the firewall window and create a new rule. The chain will be Source NAT. The source address will be that of the trainee PC as the source of our ping. The destination address will be 8888 and the protocol will be ICMP. As for the action of this rule, we select Source NAT here as well, refer to the addresses window of the trainee router, and input the address that will be able to establish contact with the class AP and with whom it shares the same broadcast domain. Bear in mind that in this scenario, we are only experiencing a disconnect on the trainee router, and all other private addresses in our ping route that we mentioned in the previous session have their own NAT configurations. So with this new Source NAT in place, if we ping 8888, we receive the expected response. What's more, the new Source NAT rule has recorded one single packet that was the very first packet of this ping. As you can see, the trainee router is showing activity in all 5 rules for the outgoing ping packets toward 8888, with the 2 NAT rules appearing only for the very first packet. After that, the records alternate between logs for ping replies and the next outgoing ping packet toward 8888. And as you can see, IP addresses in both ways are being translated for this connection to happen. What's more, the counters on our firewall rules have also recorded 4 packets going each way. Also, if you go to the connection tracking table, you can see that a connection between the IP address of the trainee PC and 8888 has been registered by the trainee router. Now, what happens if we start pinging 1111 instead of 8888? Unlike the previous attempt, pinging 1111 will fail because our Source NAT rule has been limited to the destination address of 8888, meaning it will only translate the IP address of 192.168.199 if it is sending packets toward 8888. So, if we clear the destination address field and try pinging 1111, it will work this time. With this issue out of the way, do you think we can now surf the net? Well, apparently not. The reason is that our Source NAT is still limited by its defined protocol, that is ICMP, so only the address of ICMP packets is being translated. Removing this limitation allows other network protocols to use this Source NAT as well. And the last limitation here is that our source IP address on this rule is limited only to a single private address. And in case the IP address of our PC changes ever so slightly, the rule won't work. To fix this, you can substitute 192.168.199 to 192.168.10/24 so that if the DHCP server assigns a new address to the trainee PC, you stay online. Now that you have this Source NAT in place, there is no need for the above 4 rules, and to save device resources, make sure you always remove or disable unused rules in the firewall menu. And before we end this session, let's talk about how you can use Source NAT to secure connections and manage outgoing network traffic. Given the fact that Source NAT is in the post-routing stage and can be used to affect the behavior of packets leaving the routing flow, together with the parameters available to define a Source NAT, such as destination address, protocol, or out interface, you can create a rule with the specific conditions and put limitations on outgoing traffic. For instance, if you put one or a range of destination addresses in this field, such as 8888, your device will be allowed to access only that address as its destination, and access to other destination addresses will be barred. So, as for accounting systems and employees, for example, you can limit outgoing access to required services only, and thus maintain network security. Therefore, instead of all these firewall rules, you can create one suitable Source NAT and secure your devices. So far, so good. However, a pressing question remains. What if the source address of your PC changes entirely? Do you need to change the source address of the NAT every single time? Stay tuned for next session and we'll teach you an easy way to solve this problem. If you have any questions, use the comments section. Also, please subscribe for future tutorials and give us a thumbs up for this video if you feel like it.